Well, it doesn't look like we're flying out today now.
A Boeing 737 burst into flames at Denver International Airport with crew and passengers on board on this episode of Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we've got breaking news on the American Airlines 1006 flight that caught fire at the gate at the Denver International Airport. Once again, I ask you to bear with me. I found out that my under the weather situation is actually COVID. How 2020 of me. But I'll power through this. On March 13th, 2025, an American Airlines Boeing 737-800 operating as flight AA1006 caught fire at Denver International Airport, forcing the evacuation of 172 passengers and 6 crew members. The incident, which occurred shortly after the aircraft landed and while it was taxiing to the gate, has raised fresh concerns about aviation safety amid a series of recent aviation incidents. I'm happy to report right away that no fatalities and no serious injuries. Let's dive into it. American Airlines Flight 1006 departed Colorado Springs Airport en route to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport when the crew reported engine vibrations. At about 4:56 p.m. local time, the ADSB shows the aircraft leveling off at 16,000 feet. And we don't know exactly when the pilots reported the engine vibrations, but multiple reports indicate it was after takeoff. The decision was made to divert the flight to Denver, where it landed safely at approximately 5:55 p.m. on runway 16 right, with winds 040 at 10 knots. Here's the ATC audio from live ATC as Denver approach lined them up for the landing.
American 1006, Denver approach, echo turns upon the RNAV Zulu 16 right approach.
All right, RNAV Zulu 16 right, yeah, I can't read my writing. Echo, we have that from American 1006.
American 1006, this or 1006, just to verify, not an emergency still, correct?
No, we just have a high engine vibration, so we are cruising slower than normal for American 1006.
American 1006, and do you need any extra assistance, certain speed on the arrival or final or certain length final?
No, actually, we could definitely maintain approach speeds. We just can't do climbs because we're having a high engine vibe. So we've got it pulled back for a smooth cruise.
American 1006, copy all. Plan RNF Zulu 16 right.
Great, thank you.
What's interesting here is that it was not an emergency when faced with a situation where something is abnormal, say a strange vibration or sound. There are checklists and more discretion afforded the flight crew as opposed to like major problems that require immediate action, engine fire or a compressor stall. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, the plane registered as November 885, November, reported engine vibrations and experienced an engine-related issue after landing, leading to a fire breaking out reportedly under the right engine or the number 2 engine as it taxied to gate C38 in Concourse C. While some crews might stop on the runway to have crash fire rescue inspect the aircraft before it continues to the gate, this American flight went ahead, landed, and went straight to the gate. Now, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this and wonder why they didn't have crash fire rescue check them out, but we don't know what we don't know. A little vibration at full power, bring it back a bit and it's okay. Precautionary landing, maybe no sign of fire, go ahead and head to the gate and figure it out from there. We don't know yet at which point during the taxi the fire developed or what indications they even had on the flight deck. Normal procedure if a fire happens during taxi is to stop and run the emergency checklist, but we don't know what information, if any, the flight crew had about what was going on underneath. Regardless, American Flight 1006 taxied to the gate. The jet bridge moved into place and the fire grew. Videos and photos shared on social media captured the dramatic scenes, flames and thick black smoke billowing from the engine, and passengers evacuating onto the aircraft's wing and others sliding down emergency slides out the back to safety, and ground crews quickly extinguishing the fire. And while no serious injuries were reported, Denver International Airport confirmed that 12 passengers were in fact transported to local hospitals with minor injuries. American Airlines praised the swift response of its crew, the Denver team, and the first responders, emphasizing that safety remained the top priority. The airline arranged a replacement aircraft to ferry the passengers to Dallas later that night, reportedly the 1 a.m. flight early Friday morning. If you've ever traveled commercial air, when you finish boarding the plane to depart, there will be a cross-check and armed doors call-out, and the flight attendants will go and arm the doors so that if open, the emergency slides will deploy. And upon landing and reaching the gate, the last thing is to call out a cross-check and unarm the doors. From the videos and pictures, there is a jet bridge in place towards the left front part of the aircraft. Interviews with passengers stated there was panic inside, and passengers opened the doors over the left wing and scrambled out. Here's from WRAL.
When the fire started, everybody started panicking and pushing and shoving to try to get off the plane, and so we popped open the doors on the emergency exit side on the left-hand side. People started getting out and getting onto the plane, onto the wing, and again the fire and smoke was there, and so as they were trying to bring ladders, I jumped off the wing onto a ladder and scratched my leg a little bit, but luckily no other major injuries. And then as they put out the fire, people started getting down off the ladders.
Personally, I would try to avoid standing over the fuel tanks when there's a fire underneath, but hey, everyone survived. And when at the gate, there is a procedure for an emergency deplaning. Investigators will undoubtedly look to see what happened and if the disembarkation out the wing was passenger instigated. The FAA has launched an investigation to determine the cause of the engine fire, with initial reports suggesting it may have been linked to the vibrations reported during flight, which would make sense. The aircraft, a 13-year-old Boeing 737-800, is equipped with two CFM56-7B engines manufactured by CFM International, which is a joint venture between General Electric and Safran. The Boeing 737-800 is a narrow-body, twin-engine jetliner and part of the highly successful Boeing 737 Next Generation NG family, introduced in the late 90s. It's widely used for airlines globally for short to medium-haul flights with a typical capacity of 162 to 189 passengers. As of 2025, over 5,000 737-800s have been delivered, making it one of the most common commercial aircraft in service. The aircraft's CFM56-7B engines, which will likely be the focus of the investigation, are renowned for their reliability and efficiency, powering the 737 NG series. A variant of the CFM56 engine, the CFM56-5 series, is also used on the Airbus A320 family alongside the IAE V2500 since the aircraft's introduction in the 1980s. The CFM series, first introduced in the 70s, has logged over 1 billion flight hours, earning a reputation as one of the most dependable turbofan engines in aviation history. However, like all complex machinery, it's not immune to issues. Engine fires, while rare, are a known risk in aviation, often triggered by mechanical failures or fuel leaks, hydraulic leaks, or foreign object damage. The CFM56-7B, specifically designed for the 737 NG series, has a strong safety record, but incidents have occurred over the years. On April 17, 2018, Southwest Airlines Flight 1380, a Boeing 737-700, experienced an uncontained engine failure when a fan blade broke off a CFM56-7B engine. Debris shattered a window, leading to a passenger's death and emergency landing in Philadelphia. While not a fire, this incident highlighted vulnerabilities in the engine's fan assembly, prompting inspection across the fleet. Southwest Airlines Flight 3472 on August 27, 2016 had another CFM56-7B engine failure on a 737-700 that resulted in an uncontained event with the loss of the engine cowling and damage to the wing and fuselage. No fire occurred, but the incident underscored the potential for catastrophic engine malfunctions. While specific data on the CFM56-7B is not easily available, engine fires on the 737-800 are considered rare based on its extensive service history since 1998. The CFM56-7B's design includes safeguards like fire detection and suppression systems, which may have aided in the rapid extinguishment of the Denver fire. We don't know yet whether the pilots activated the engine fire extinguisher or not, but I'm sure the NTSB will release that information with the prelim or final report. Even though the aircraft and engine is considered one of the most reliable, the March 13th incident will likely prompt scrutiny of maintenance records for November 885, November, and the broader CFM56 fleet. Early reports were pointing to the brakes, maybe a hard landing, but it was not the brakes, as some pointed out. The Denver incident is the latest in a string of aviation mishaps in recent months, fueling public unease about air travel, including the Air Busan incident in South Korea back in January of 2025, where we just received updated information according to CBS, indicating a power bank, one of those you would carry on the aircraft to charge your phone, was responsible for a fire that engulfed the Airbus A321neo, eventually leading to its destruction. These incidents, which unrelated in cause, coincide with other high-profile aviation events such as the accident on approach to Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. that killed 67 and the fiery crash landing of the CRJ-700 in Toronto. And despite these occurrences, experts maintain that air travel remains statistically safe, with incidents often amplified by social media visibility. I'd like to say everything's good, everything's normal. We're just hearing about it quicker with the speed of social media. But clearly, right now, there's an uptick in commercial aviation incidents. The FAA's investigation will likely focus on whether the engine vibrations and subsequent fire stemmed from a mechanical fault or an external factor like debris ingestion. CFM International may also conduct its own review of the engine involved. For passengers, the sight of flames and evacuations onto the wing is alarming, but the lack of serious injuries reflect the effectiveness of modern safety protocols. American Airlines has apologized for the inconvenience and is cooperating fully with the authorities. Meanwhile, the Boeing 737-800 and the CFM56 engines will likely face heightened scrutiny, though their long track record suggests this was an outlier rather than a systemic flaw. I think investigators will also take a look at emergency procedures both in the air and in deplaning at the gate. And what is our takeaway from this incident? Well, first, don't stand on top of a fuel tank when there's a fire under it. Trust the flight attendants and follow their instructions. Panic doesn't help anyone. The flight attendants, they're highly trained. Leave your luggage behind. Multiple videos and photos have emerged on social media showing passengers carrying their baggage with them as they exited the aircraft. Don't do that. Just leave it behind. You grab a bag, it might mean somebody doesn't make it. The crew of American Airlines Flight 1006 didn't know that they were going to have to evacuate the loaded Boeing 737 that day, but they were ready for it. And as passengers on these aircraft, we need to be ready to follow the crew's instructions. It's not just a federal regulation, it could save your life. Leave your carry-on baggage behind. It's not worth your life or the others on the aircraft. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me. And thanks for supporting our sponsors like 67 Designs, the best phone or tablet camera mounts for your aircraft, your car, your other vehicle. I've got them in my aircraft and my car, and I love them. Check them out at 67d.com. Our other sponsors in the links below. Thanks for subscribing, and let me know in the comments, do you think aviation is less safe today than it was just a year ago? And if you found this report helpful, check out our other recent report right here. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills. Take care.